Hi, and welcome to Protomotive. Let's do this again. I just recorded this entire video and never hit start recording. So anyhow, we are looking at a Piston Motion Simulator here, one of the other programs or calculators that we have up in our tech library, besides all our Protomotive tech blog stuff that has basically text versions of all our videos if you'd like to read through it and explore and see all the calculations, all the pictures, all the graphs, everything that are within the videos are there to go ahead and read. But go to protomotive.com, tech library, Protomotive Rod Speed Simulator is what we're looking at today. Here it's getting started all by itself. It's rolling around there at a whopping 10 RPMs with a stroke of 76.4, a rod length of 127, which gives us a rod to stroke length ratio of 1.66 and a max rod deflection of 17.5 degrees. We can play with all these variables with accelerate, decelerate, increases or decreases your RPMs, decrease rod length, increase rod length, decrease stroke, increase stroke, and clear screen. They're in an odd order just because they're numerically in order to use your keypad on your PC. Or if you're on a mobile device, you can hit RPMs down, RPMs up, faster, slower. So you can play with that there. Your rod length, you can increase your rod length all the way out to impossible stuff, decrease it down to impossible stuff. Same thing on the stroke. You can increase and decrease that. The reason that I have 10 RPMs is because we get better resolution on the graph here because it's just taking samples here. So let's go ahead and reload that so that we start out at the defaults. And down here we've got with our Rod Speed / Piston Motion Simulator, you can clearly visualize changes for your engine build. While the simulation is running, I already went over this. It goes over all the keys. That's what this whole paragraph is. And then, so key in your favorite combination and compare the position and displacement to ideal in the lower sine chart. And watch the motion of the piston as you increase or decrease the stroke or rod length. You can have some fun here and create impossible situations. Try out an 82 millimeter stroke with a 41 millimeter rod. Okay, let's key that in. So 82 millimeter stroke. We can get close, 82.4 with a 41 millimeter rod. Yes, we can say impossible because this thing is, you can see the piston is hitting the crankshaft and actually going below center line just a little bit. And look what's going on down here. We are sitting at bottom dead center for 180 degrees. Watch. And then it goes pop up, it pops up, pops down, then from 180 from here to here, the piston literally doesn't move. So that's a very extreme situation to show what is happening as you keep decreasing the rod length and increasing the stroke. What would happen in this impossible situation? Of course, we can't get there, but the computer can visualize it. So you can understand what's happening. So the shorter the rod, the longer the stroke, the worse the rod stroke length ratio, the longer the piston will tend to dwell at bottom dead center, and you have less effective time for the piston to do its work. It pops up, pops down, and then just sits there a really long time. So let's finish this down here. That's about as extreme as you can get. And notice the piston dwells at the bottom for 270 degrees. That's wrong. I should change that. It's 180 degrees. Then all the motion is contained within 90 degrees of crank motion, which is wrong. That's 180 degrees of crank. I need to rewrite this. Versus the ideal, fully utilizing the full 360-degree crank rotation for all that motion. However, there are some advantages to longer stroke and shorter rods. Aside from packaging, you get higher piston velocities, which can dramatically increase your volumetric efficiencies, especially at lower RPM, where these engines, especially turbos, need it. Notice also going from the stock 76.4 127 millimeter rod length to our cookie cutter 80.4 127 millimeter rod length setup, there's barely a degree difference in the max rod angle. Let us know what you come up with. So let's take a look at that. All right, well, we'll clear the graph. So clear your graph. Let's go ahead and set our stroke back to something reasonable here. We're at 74.4 and 127. So we'll do, and this is a 993, a 964, a 3.2 Carrera, 3.3 turbo. If you go a little more on the stroke, then you've got a 996 turbo, a 997 turbo, and you can see the max rod deflection there at 17.5 on the 74.4. It's max. It's calculating it in real time as it goes around. It's watching the rod angles, and it's catching the maximum number as it goes around. So 3233's max rod deflection ratio is 17. A 996 turbo, 17.5. Now let's go all the way out to an 80.4. We're at 18.5. We picked up another degree, but let's shorten the rod so the piston's back in the same place. So 18.8 from 17.5. So 1.3 degrees difference between a stock 996 turbo or 997 turbo at 74.4 and 127 versus 80.4 and 125. So not huge. Now, if we take that all the way out to, impossible numbers here. So let's decrease our stroke till we hit a 2-to-1, supposedly the ideal rod to stroke length ratio, which gives us a max rod deflection of 14.5 to 1. I'm not sure who came up with that ideal number, but you need either a pretty short stroke or a really long rod on that. Now, I don't have the numbers on it, but like Mountain Motors, they make those massive 10-liter V8s, and they tend to use shorter rods, longer strokes intentionally. Because those things, when they bump the stroke up, I think they're 4-inch plus, and those things you can see the chart changing dramatically down there. They're getting a huge rod deflection. What would be interesting, and I don't have it in here, would be the piston, the acceleration of the piston. Because what's happening is now the piston's going from TDC down to BDC in the same amount of rotation, but from there to the side, the piston velocity is much higher. I don't know if we can, let's see if we can show that. Okay, so we're increasing our stroke, our rod stroke length ratio is getting pretty bad. We'll go all the way down to a 1.0. So basically the same stroke length as the rod. And what's happening is here that the piston has to move a lot faster. It sits at the bottom, but because it's moving faster at a lower RPM, you're increasing your volumetric efficiency. And those Mountain Motors, he's claiming 135% volumetric efficiency on those engines, which is giving him insane torque and power without really having to rev them up really high. I think they're barely going 6,500 RPMs. Correct me if I'm wrong. Write it in the comments if you know more about those. I had actually talked to him at one point when we started doing our stroker cranks. And like everyone, Porsche land, I was afraid of rod and stroke length ratios. And he was telling me that they're getting 135% VE, and 135% VE is similar to running 5 to 6 psi of boost on a naturally aspirated engine. So that's very impressive for a naturally aspirated engine. I mean, yeah, the displacement is massive. They're making insane power. I think they're making 11 or 1200 horsepower on those things out of the 10-liter engine. So over 100 horsepower per liter without revving them up that high. Whereas like the 3-liter RSRs, they were 100 horse a liter. The 2.2
or the 906 racing engines, they were just over 100 horse a liter. But they also took 8,000 RPMs to get there. They're doing this at much lower RPMs with a lot of work on increasing the volumetric efficiency, using ridiculous piston speeds. From what I understand, the mountain engines have a higher piston velocity than a Formula One engine running 18,000 RPMs. That's impressive that they're holding those things together on street engines, and they're making ridiculous power on pump gas. So that's not to say to go absolutely severe on it, but I mean, this thing, we're looking at a max rod deflection ratio of almost 30 degrees. The side loading on the piston is really, really rough there. I'm not quite sure how they're keeping them together. I don't think I'd run those on liner engines, on iron block, steel block, aluminum block engines, but on engines with liners in it, you might just push a hole in the side of the piston. So if we get back down to something more reasonable here with our stock stroke and our stock rod, you can see on the chart there how much smaller that all is compared to that giant engine that they had. I mean, we're at what, bottom dead center right here, and we're at top dead center here. Whereas at bottom dead center versus top dead center, they had so much more stroke going on here that you can see a lot more action happening from here to here in the same amount of time. So I don't know. That's a lot of hooey going on there. Some interesting things. It's fun to play with. It's fun to see the reaction of, hey, I want to put a stroker crank in there, but what do I need to do with the rod? You can drive yourself bonkers and say, hey, I've got well, LN makes this 104 piston with 22 millimeter wrist pin. We threw together some rods for them, 300M. Uh, Not for them, but for a couple of our customers that did that, and they're 130 millimeter rods on an 80.4 stroke with the 22 millimeter wrist pin, designed specifically for GT3 market, for the LN 104 piston cylinders, naturally aspirated for air cooled. And there you can see the max rod deflection ratio is only 18 to 1. It's nice. Rod to stroke length ratio is 1.62, where you take that and you decrease the rod length down to 125, and we're going to pick up the zero point 0.8 degrees, So that's a lot of work. Um, Cramming you're going to compromise the piston crown a little bit. They've got a smaller wrist pin. I don't know that I'd run that on a big torque turbo engine, but on the naturally aspirated engines, that's fine. You're looking for more RPM to make those effective anyway. Whereas on a big torque turbo engine, I want all the wrist pin I can get in there. So a nice big beefy one. You need lots of strength between the wrist pin and the crown of the piston. Where you're running a longer rod length, you're compromising the crown by pushing the wrist pin way up in the top of the piston. A lot of people will do that, and they'll even go to two ring piston designs, which might be okay for racing, but I'm not going to run that on the street. So for these street cars, I think we've really hit a sweet spot with our cranks and our rods. They're working really well out there, making tons of torque, lots of power, really been reliable, make all kinds of horsepower without much boost. More power, less boost. We always want to go there. And you can play around with this on your mobile or on your PC or even your Apple if you want to. See what's going on and see what you can come up with. You find something fun with it, shoot it over to me. I'd love to chat with you about it. Thanks for watching. Rod to stroke length, yeah. Our rod stroke length,